Hello. Keeping an eye on your dog while you're gardening is possible. Keeping an eye on your dog plus 3 guest dogs while you're shooting a gardening video is just about impossible. In part 1 of this compilation video, I'll show you a kale plant that has been savaged when the dogs were in my garden. In part 2, the dogs are in the garden again as I harvest leeks from a bucket a few days later. Take your pick which one steals the kale growing in the bucket and eats it behind my back in part 2 of this video. Stay till the end and the culprit is caught on camera. Shot a few years ago, the video still makes me smile. I hope it does you too. Enjoy this video. Hello. At the weekend I shot a video about growing potatoes in forest bark and wood chip. One set in a 10-inch pot, just like this one you're looking at now. And I claim to be multitasking because over that weekend we had 3 dogs staying with us. We were babysitting 3 more dogs plus Molly. So I had 4 dogs and I was shooting that video, and I claim to be multitasking. And I said that at any point in shooting that video the dogs might appear. It's a lovely warm day, the dogs were just sitting off camera and I thought they would wander across the picture, but they didn't. And so I invited them in at the end of the shoot just to show you the dogs. You've seen the dogs before. And I think I was a bit premature in saying that the dogs had been really well behaved, because since then I've discovered they haven't been that well behaved. And that leads me to this video. What you're looking at now is curly kale. Curly kale is something I've never grown before, and that's one curly kale growing in a 10-inch pot. And I think you'll agree, it's quite a fine curly kale. Okay, now I sowed 2 curly kale, one in this pot and one in another pot. I'm going to take this pot out of the picture now and I'm going to show you what's left of the other curly kale, and the dogs are in the frame for this one. That's it. That curly kale looked like the other curly kale before we had the dogs for a sleepover. And that's what it looks like now. And so I think the dogs have had a go at it. Although all the evidence is circumstantial, but they were all here. They were all in the garden at the same time. And then I discovered this a day later. So let's have a look at the dogs. Let's see if we can decide who we think's most likely to have been the culprit, or whether in fact it wasn't just a joint enterprise, that they all got stuck into this curly kale and savaged it. Okay, the first dog I'm going to show you, you'll have seen this before, is Tess. Tess is a lurcher. She's faster than Usain Bolt. If she did this, it would be a blur. you just wouldn't see it. Even if you were there to witness it, she's that fast. This is Fern. Fern's also a lurcher. Fern's just a pup. She's hardly 12 months old, but she's driven by her stomach. If it's eatable and she can reach it, she'll eat it. This is Dotty. Dotty is a Patterdale Terrier. Dotty's bordering on bonkers, but she's absolutely lovely. A lovely terrier. I'm not too sure Dotty could manage this. This pot and the kale before it was eaten was bigger than Dotty. But the two lurchers would have no problems with this. Last but not least is Molly. We know Molly likes her vegetables. She likes carrots, she likes potatoes. She's taken mange too off the plant before. She likes peas. She'll have a go at parsnips. There isn't much that Molly won't have a go at. So that's it, that's the 4 dogs. Right, let's bring the bunch of them together. Have a look at these 4. Now let's decide. Was this a joint enterprise, do you think? Or do you think one of these dogs is a culprit? Let me know what you think. But let me tell you this, here at Homegrown Veg, we love our dogs. So there'll be no repercussions. Dogs do what dogs do, and every dog has its day. And in these dogs have had their curly Kale. But we've enjoyed this video, I've enjoyed making it. I had a laugh when I found this curly Kale. I think we'll just leave this one in the pot. It looks as though it's ready for the bin. Why don't we just leave it, see if it kicks back into life? You never know. We'll give it a chance. Okay, this is Homegrown Veg, signing out. So we're growing in a 10-inch pot, as you can see, and we're growing 4 leeks, and we've got them in these pop bottles, and we've got some felt inserts in the pop bottles. Okay, we planted these leeks on the 1st of June. These were leeks that had been started off indoors, grown on, and then they were put into this pot on the 1st of June with compost that had just produced some early potatoes. So we reinvigorated the compost with bloodfish and bone, banged it straight back in the pot, planted 4 leeks, put the plastic pop bottles around them, and away they went. Okay, now then, the reason why we're doing this. If you've grown these guys in an allotment, you would dibber a hole and you would drop the plant in the hole, and the bottom of the root ball would be probably 5 or 6 inches in the ground. But because this pot is only 10 inches deep, I can't do that, otherwise I wouldn't get much white shank on the leek. If I was to dibber holes in this pot 5 or 6 inches deep, the bottom of the leek would be nearly at the bottom of the pot, and therefore there'd be no compost below the root for it to grow into and to develop. Most of the compost would be above the root. So I've actually sown these guys close to the top of the pot. In fact, these guys are probably only in 1 inch or 2 inches at most. Now because of that, they can become very unstable in the wind. They're not in the ground far enough. And if we put them in a pot and then stand them on the patio, then we expose them to the wind, don't we? They're there to be blown over, and they would be. So we need to support them. So what I do initially is I put these pop bottles around them. Now what we'll do is we'll take these felt inserts out, just pop those over there, and take this one out. Now normally I would take these leeks 4 at a time, so I would just empty the pot out. I'll cut the lot out of the pot. But I'm only taking one today, and I'm taking this biggest one. Okay, there's our 4 leeks. I'm hoping that because it isn't sown too deeply, as I've already said, I can get this out simply by doing this. And this is without cutting the base of the leek, hopefully. Well, we've got the 3 dogs with us today. We've got dogs sitting, so you might see them wandering about in the back of this. That's Tess just went behind me. I don't know if she's on camera. Whoa, that's it. So I hope this is on camera. If you have a look at this, there's the top of the soil ball. Okay, now let's see how far down that leek is. That's how far down it is, look. Just more than my thumbnail. So that was in about ½ an inch to 1 inch. Now that's never going to support itself unless you put something like this round. But if you're growing in an allotment, you dibbering them in, you're putting them 5, 6, 4, I don't know, inches in the ground. They're not going to blow over, you don't need these. But I like to use these to support these guys, because they're not that far in, and then we use the inserts to make it dark in there. Okay, how's that? Doesn't look a bad leek, does it? Well, there you have it. Did you guess correctly? Did you choose the dog that you thought had eaten the kale? I think eventually 3 of them got in on the act. Once one got the kale, 2 more were involved. What's that expression when there's more than one person involved in a crime? Is it joint? I think it's called joint enterprise, isn't it? Yeah, I think ultimately there was a joint enterprise. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed the video. This is Homegrown Veg, signing out.